Hello, 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 and welcome back to another installment of Aligned to the Truth Tuesdays. My name is Danielle Gray. I am a manifestation and mindset coach, transformational teacher, and spiritual mentor, elevating you to your highest and best so that you can live a life that you love. Welcome back to the live recording. Welcome back to my channel if you're watching the replay on YouTube. And welcome back to the podcast if you are listening on the You Can Manifest podcast. I'm so grateful to have you here. If you are watching on YouTube, I would absolutely appreciate it if you would hit the little thumbs up button so that we can trigger the YouTube algorithm to let other people know that this information is valuable and that they should be tuning in. And then while you're down there, you might as well hit the subscribe button. Excuse me. And while you're there, you might as well hit the little bell notification so that you're notified when new episodes are available. And like I say, we are recording this live inside of my Facebook group. So if you are not already in my Facebook group, I would love for you to come and join me there. It's called Money, Mindset, and Manifestation. I will leave a link below so you can, or in the description of the podcast, depending on where you're listening. And I would love it if you would come and meet me there. We record these episodes live every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Okay, so today we're talking about energetic boundaries and why they are so vitally important for not only manifesting successfully and effortlessly, but also for your entire self-realization journey. Okay, I actually, this topic was sparked by a conversation I was having with one of my Alignment U clients. That's my 12-month mastermind program. And she was talking about how she's having trouble finding time to sit down and do her journaling and finding quiet space to do this and to do that and whatever within the program. And we got talking about it. And ultimately, those are boundary issues, right? And then I started reflecting on my own journey and my own boundaries that I've had to set and reset and move around, and depending on where I am and what feels aligned and whatnot. So I wanted to talk about it today because boundaries are one of the, like I say, most vital parts of the whole process. And they become very apparent, or the lack of boundaries becomes very apparent when we are coming back into our power. And, by taking a program like Alignment U, right? That is a clear indication to the universe that you're ready to take your power back. But usually by the time, or at least for me and some of my clients, by the time that happens, we've spent so long ignoring the need for boundaries, and we've spent so long working around other people's boundaries and all the things that we need to course correct, right? So I want to talk about that today. So first I want to share my own experience with boundaries and how I realize it can look and how it looked for me and what the process can be like. Okay. So first, one of my main realizations that I needed better boundaries and that boundaries was the reason that I wasn't succeeding. And further than that, not necessarily the boundaries, but how I was giving my power away and how that was resulting in the drop of boundaries, right? That was resulting in the lack of boundaries. And so one of the reasons boundaries are so important is because it not only allows us to feel secure and safe in what we're doing and who we're talking to and how we're talking about it and how we want to live our lives, but it also is a very clear indication and very clear, boundary, basically, right? To the people around us so that they know what we expect of them and what they can expect of us and what we require, right? Out of a relationship, out of a friendship, out of a marriage, out of, whatever, right? Out of a collaboration, anything. Boundaries need to be set, they need to be defined, and they need to be very clear. So for me, and I'm going to kind of weave in a couple of realizations I've had recently. I'm in a streak of breakthroughs. We're reading The Greatest Secret together as a group inside Alignment U. And I'm actually going to make the recordings available for purchase because it has been an incredible several days. We're doing the 2 final chapters tomorrow, and then we're going to do a recap, and then I'm going to bundle it all up and I'm going to make it available because it is incredible. So whether you've read The Greatest Secret already, or you're planning to read it, or you've read The Secret and didn't know there was The Greatest Secret, like I did, I kind of stumbled upon it by accident, right? Of course, nothing happens by accident. And reading it together as a collective, it's me and one of the other healers that's inside the Alignment U program as essentially a fellow coach. We're discussing the book and then opening the floor to Q&A. And it's just been powerful stuff. And like I said, because of it, I'm having breakthrough after breakthrough after breakthrough. And it's just like incredible. So if you have read it, if you haven't read it, if you're interested in reading it, if you're interested in even taking part in the discussion without reading the book, like you can definitely watch the replays of this without needing the book. You do not, it will be more beneficial, obviously, if you're reading the book also and then watching the corresponding discussion. But anyway, it's leading to a lot of breakthroughs. So I'm going to kind of probably weave those in. And I didn't even know, obviously, that was going to happen when I scheduled this recording. So that's what I love about the alignment of it all. But anyway, so my realizations come from my relationship, reflecting on my relationship with my husband, and past relationships with other men, and my worthiness, and then therefore my lack of boundaries and whatnot. Okay. So it occurred to me the other day, and I'm not going to go fully into this realization, I'll save it for another topic, but basically I realized the other day that all of my relationships with men have ended with them ending it, right? Generally. I mean, there was a couple that I kind of ended, but anyway, like in general, my subconscious sees that the relationships were ended on the other end. So my subconscious believes that I'm not worthy of having somebody wanting to be around me for that long, right? Wanting to be with me for longer than, my first relationship of 5 years. Well, actually my very first, relationship in grade, 9 or whatever, right? When you're just, barely dating. We never actually went on a real date, but we were boyfriend, girlfriend for 4 months. He broke up with me. Right. And then I dated my second boyfriend for 5 years. He broke up with me. And then a couple of other things happened. And ultimately, I mean, like I said, I did end a couple of them, but ultimately what led that to me believing was that I'm not worthy of having relationships with people who actually want to be with me. Right. I'm the one that has to pursue. I'm the one that has to chase. I'm the one that has to be, convince these people that they want to be with me. Right. So, which leads me to my husband. My husband, if you guys have been following me for any amount of time, you know that I have been manifesting my husband since I was little. I told my mom when I was 5, I was going to marry him. I fell deeply in love with him when I was 13. We kind of rendezvoused when I was 16, and he's 3 years older than me and lived in a completely different town. It was like never going to happen as a teenager. Right. And we weren't in the right place. Anyway, rendezvoused again at 16, but I was already in a relationship, right? And he knew that. So he kind of avoided me because of our previous, chemistry. And I'm talking like I used to mail physical love notes to him. In high school when you fold them up all funny and like to a little square or whatever. I don't know if kids still do that, but and I would mail these to him. I mailed him birthday cards and like full on like put lipstick on, kiss the paper, like the whole stereotypical like romance movie thing, right? Anyway, so rendezvoused when I was 16, that didn't work out. And then when I was 20, I had been single for a little while and our moms ran into each other. Of course, I've known my husband for a long, long time because our parents used to work together and are now friends, and it's all those, right? So my mom ran into his mom. She said, to tell Danielle to add Derek on Facebook. He's got all these tattoos you want to see, whatever. Little did I know she was orchestrating our getting together. But anyway, add him on Facebook. We talked a little bit. It didn't really go anywhere. And then I wished him a happy birthday in August when I was, just after I turned 21. His birthday's 8 days after mine. And that happy birthday wish turned into my fairy tale that I have today. We're happily married, have, been together for 12 years now. In 2 more days on the 2nd, we're going to celebrate our 9th wedding anniversary. We have a 5.5-year-old son we're about to put in kindergarten. Like everything has been working out and I fully manifested it. But what started to happen after we got together and after the kind of, honeymoon phase wears off, my subconscious, and of course, this is all hindsight. I didn't realize any of this at the time. This is all like a very recent realization, like within the last few days. So you guys are getting like brand new information here. Okay. So, when the honeymoon stage wears off, my subconscious, I guess, expected it to end, like it to be over. And okay, well, now those days are over. The game has been played and now we're going to have to move on. It's going to end. Right. So I unknowingly, I literally just realized this the other day, have been subconsciously sabotaging the relationship for a very long time. Okay. Like I don't want to get into it and I'm not going to get into it, but, yeah, I've been subconsciously, sabotaging the relationship for a very long time, and I'm not doing that anymore, obviously. But, little did I know that because our parents were friends. And because we kind of had a history, like kind of, right, friendships and whatnot, my husband was very aware of the fact that if we ever pursued anything, he was going to have to make it like very respectful and very, like he was going to have to be ready for a long-term thing, because he knew that's kind of what I had been dreaming of my whole life. And he also knew, not because of that though, because he knew that if something went wrong again, like he was a bit of a playboy in his day, right? So he knew that if something went wrong, or if he kind of screwed me over in any way, that it was going to cause a rift in our parents' friendships. And my dad was probably never going to forgive him. And it was going to be like a whole mess. Right. So I didn't know this, but when we started dating, when he asked me out on our date, he was already prepared to settle down. Like just the other day, he told me, he's like, I had a dialogue with myself, and I was kind of, realizing if you're going to do this, you have to be ready to settle down, because this, unless obviously it breaks down organically, this is probably it. Like, you have to be prepared for that. So, and he came to the realization that that was what he wanted. So when we started dating, he was already in the mindset that this was going to be forever. Okay. Like, a funny story that he has told over and over again is, when we'd been dating for about a month and a half, he went to our travel agency and booked us a trip to Vegas for a few days. And they're booking the tickets, and it got to the birth dates, and he had to phone me to ask me my birthday. And the girl helping him was like, what? You don't even know this girl's birthday and you're going to take her on vacation? And he's like, I'm going to marry this girl. So it's not relevant that I don't remember what her birthday is. I have a horrible memory and I don't remember. And that's not the moral of the story here. Right. But I went into the relationship knowing that he had a history of being a playboy. And now, of course, my subconscious thinks I've got people figured out, and ultimately nothing lasts. And this is just going to be some fun fling or something. Right. So I went in already sabotaging the thing, and he went in with a permanency in mind, right? So you can see already that the boundaries are going to be very different for what we're expecting the relationship to be, right? And of course, we just started dating. I'm not going to, at 21, have the wherewithal to sit down and have this like in-depth conversation about what we're both expecting from the relationship. I was just like, oh my God, I'm finally going on a date with this guy that I've been idolizing, putting on a pedestal my entire life. Okay. So from those realizations, I also started to see that because I had put him and his entire family actually on a pedestal, I let my boundaries down, because I didn't want to sabotage the relationship. I had finally gotten what I had been saying I wanted since I was 5 years old, and there was no way I was going to sabotage it. So I thought, this is where I give my power away. Because I thought, if I put my foot down and say in any way, shape, or form, I need alone time, I need this, I want to go with my friends, I want to do this. Now, I don't mean to, I want to make it very clear, he never once tried to control anything I did, never told me I couldn't hang out with anybody, never, nothing. Like, that was all I gave my power away. He never did any of that stuff. Okay, ever. He's an incredibly supportive husband and man, and he has never, and I wrote a very emotional post the other day, after our 12th dating anniversary, that he has never once tried to confine me or box me in to what he thinks a woman should be, a wife should be, a spouse should be. Never. And he's been with me regardless of me unconsciously sabotaging our relationship. He's been with me through all the different, essentially personalities that I've gone through, right? Because I've gone on, especially in the last 3.5 years, 4 years since I started this, spiritual journey after watching The Secret in December of 2017. I've evolved a lot, right? And so has he. Obviously, people change, and that's what it is. But he's never once tried to like box me into any one thing. He's just been very supportive of the person I've become and am becoming, and just really strives to make me a better person. Okay. Obviously, we've had our ups and downs. And like I say, if I'm saying that I've been subconsciously sabotaging the relationship for 11 and a half years, you can imagine we've had several arguments. We've almost broken up several times. I did try to leave 2 or 3 years in, but something kept holding me in, right? I just something kept telling me that I needed to, stay or whatever. And it's funny, side tangent. Because my ego is so big, or it has been, I'm working on it. Going into it, I figured, I'm saving you, right? I'm better than all your other girlfriends. I'm saving you, da, 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 da. Even though subconsciously I felt less than all of his girlfriends. And I'll go into that in a second, but Maybe I won't actually. I don't know if I want to go down that road right now. It's going to make the video really long. Anyway, so I thought that I was saving him, but this whole time I realized he's actually been saving me. Okay. So, and helping me become the awakened, open leader that I am. Okay. So I'm obviously very grateful for him, and I'm literally trying not to cry right now. Okay. So anyway, but in the beginning of our relationship, I gave my power away because I had put him on this pedestal, which is why I want to bring this up, because we have a tendency to put our manifestations on a pedestal, right? We have a tendency to let our boundaries down when we're in pursuit of something that we want. We think it's so important that we're not going to be happy without this thing, and we're attached to the outcome, and we need it to happen, and we need to know how it happens, and we forget everything else, right? In pursuit of this thing that we want. So I put him up on this pedestal. And so then here's an example. I was working graveyard shifts when we started dating. I was working 6 to 2:30, 6 a.m. to graveyard shifts was 10 p.m. to 6:30 a.m. Okay. So if I'm working all night, I have to sleep during the day, right? Obviously. And before we started dating, what I was doing was, because I was working graveyard shifts straight, like 5 graveyard shifts a week, nothing else. I was working 10 to 6:30. I would come home. I would go to bed. I would wake up, essentially when my parents were getting home from work, because I'm living at home still, right? I'm 21 years old, 2021. I'd wake up when they got home from work. We would spend the evening together. I would eat, whatever, breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever I felt like having at the time. And then I would go to work. So we start dating. The relationship's new. It's exciting. We're finally together. I can't wait. I can't believe it. I can't believe this is happening to me. I can't believe that I'm so lucky. How did this happen? How did I get this? It's like a dream. Somebody pinched me, right? So, and because and I didn't see it. I didn't see this, but he's just as infatuated with me as I am with him, right? I feel like I'm the one that won the lottery when he feels the same way, but I don't see that he feels the same way because I subconsciously don't feel worthy of it, right? So I've manifested it, but I don't feel worthy of it. So it must be that I'm the lucky one here. And, you're doing me some kind of favor is what's going subconsciously on in my head. Okay. Like that's sick, right? Anyway. So things like this would happen. He would surprise me by staying home from work, right? But I needed to sleep because I'm working graveyard shifts. But instead of saying, that's so sweet, I am still alive, yes. Instead of saying, that's so sweet, but like I need to get some sleep. Why don't you do a half day and then come home and we'll hang out? Or, can you go watch a movie or something for a couple of hours while I have some sleep or whatever? Like I should have said, like, that's really sweet of you, but I need to go to sleep. Like I have to get up, at 9:00 or whatever. Like I have to be out of the house again by, 9:00 tonight to be at work. And I didn't do that. I didn't do that because I didn't want to disappoint him. I didn't want to push him away with my boundary of needing sleep. You know how stupid that is? Like sleep is a vital bodily function. And I was putting it aside because I didn't want to set that boundary. I didn't want to disappoint my boyfriend. Like, you hear how stupid that is? Like this is like my life. Like this is the problem. And then that lack of boundaries led to feeling like I was being guilt tripped into staying home from stuff, even though that wasn't happening. Like, I want to be very clear. That was never happening. I imagined it and made it up in my head and perceived it that way, but it was not happening. And then moving all the way forward to when I started my spiritual, journey. So this is like, okay, so we started dating in 2009. I didn't watch The Secret till 2017. So we're talking 8 years of me not respecting and presenting my boundaries and setting by them and making what I need known, because I didn't want to disappoint anybody. I didn't want to ruffle any feathers. I didn't want to, I didn't want to stand up for myself. I didn't want to say what I needed. You know what I mean? Like, how stupid is that? So I essentially sacrificed. And again, nobody took that from me. I gave it. Nobody can take your power from you. You are giving it away. Okay. So if there's somebody who is not allowing you, quote unquote, to do the things that you want to do, it's because you're not setting the boundaries. It's not because they're not letting you. And sometimes setting the boundary is leaving, right? Sometimes it is, you just need to remove yourself. But anyway, so I had been giving my power away for 8 years now. So by the time I realize that I want to pursue my spiritual path, which by the way, I need to side tangent say something for a second here. Up until I watched The Secret, I was not a spiritual person. I did not believe in God. I thought humans were the highest form of intelligence. I didn't believe in the ether or none of that. I did, and this is contradictory, obviously, and I realize that. And I've been saying this my entire life. I do believe and always have that everything happens for a reason. So I realize it's contradictory because how can you believe everything happens for a reason if you don't believe in a higher power? I don't know. Obviously, my higher self knew more than I did, right? Always does, always will. But anyway, so by the time I decide I want to pursue this, like, not even decide, I was like called. I watched The Secret and I was like, there was no avoiding it. There was no working around. There was not like, it was like this. It's my calling, obviously, right? Like we all know by now, this is my calling. This is what I'm supposed to do. And this is why this all happened. So if I've spent 8 years, not only not setting boundaries, but also not believing in God, not believing in a higher power, not believing in any of this. And all of a sudden I want to pursue spirituality. I want to pursue manifesting. I want to pursue inner work and limiting beliefs. And and that wasn't immediately, I avoided the inner work for way too long too, which is why my journey took longer than it needed to. But anyway, so how am I going to say to my husband now, I'm going to need essentially several hours every week to work on myself and, channel the universe and like all this stuff, right? Like, no, I can't. So I started doing my spiritual practices and my journaling and my, watching videos of people that were ahead of my time and all this in secret, in private, when he was at work, at night, staying up late, getting up early, like doing it when he wasn't paying attention to what I was doing, right? Because I wasn't able to just say, this is what I want, and it's important to me, and this is why, and I'm going to do it. And you don't even need to explain this is why or anything. You just, like, literally, if you are strong in your boundaries, you just say, this is what it is, and this is what it is, And so with my clients, I'm saying to them, like, look, I realize that going down this path it makes you a bit of a black sheep in your relationship, right? But it's necessary, and it's necessary for you to practice setting those boundaries and saying, look, I am working on myself. I've got some thoughts I need to write down. I'm going to go and write in my journal for an hour. Please do not disrupt me. Or I need to go meditate, give me 15 minutes. I'll be right back. I was embarrassed to say things like that. I was embarrassed. Like, who am I to all of a sudden become the spiritual person and go and meditate? Like, who are you even? I was afraid that's what I was going to get. Who are you? What are you talking about? You're going to go meditate? Like, and again, none of this actually happened or existed. I made it all up in my head because I had spent so long not setting boundaries. But like I said, it's important for you to exercise. That is part of the beginning stages of taking your power back, is even though it's uncomfortable, saying to your partner, look, I need to go and spend an hour by myself to write my thoughts down. I need to go spend 20 minutes sitting in silence and meditating. I need to go be by myself and do some yoga. Or I need to go for a walk by myself. And if they say, well, can I come? You say, you know what? I really just need to be by myself right now. I want to listen to this audiobook, or I want to ponder something, or whatever. And really learning to flex those boundary muscles, right? And it's the same in any relationship. You need to set yourself up and have enough confidence in yourself, really, I think is what it is. Confidence in yourself and the wherewithal to know that you deserve and are worthy of having that time to work on yourself, and that you deserve to move forward, and you can't move forward without doing the inner work. Right. And when I started my journey, I'll be very honest with you, I was just interested in manifesting money, a house, and a car. Like, that's all I cared about. I saw The Secret. They're talking about Lambos and money and houses and this and that. I'm like, yeah, I want that. Those things are what I want. But it turned out that my desire for, luxury things was actually just the path of least resistance to get me going down this journey into my, self-realization, basically. Right. And that's what I lead my clients through in Alignment U, is this self-realization that, yes, it's okay to want all those things. And yes, that's definitely part of life, is expanding and experiencing all of this amazing stuff. But it's more about aligning to who you really are, calling your power back, understanding who you are as a person, what's important to you, what you need, where you're going, what your goals are, understanding what makes you happy, and getting to that point before you have all those things. Because when you're in my presence, when you're in my company, when you're in my program, you will realize very quickly that the magic that comes with doing the work is so much more fun than the actual manifestation, right? I heard actually there's a woman I follow named, her name is Melanie Ann Layer. And I was watching a replay of a workshop she did yesterday. And she said almost exactly that. What did she say? Oh, now I forget what it was. What did she say? The pursuit of your manifestations, the pursuit of your dreams, the pursuit of the business that you want, the pursuit of the you that you want, of the life that you want, is so much more fun than the actual having of it. Like once you have it, it's like, that's all good and fine. But then you want to go on and grow and do something else and expand into more, right? The journey is really what the fun part is. And you realize that very quickly inside my program, because I realized it the hard way too, that it's not about the things you want. It's about who you're being. It's about who you want to show up as. It's about the boundaries that you're setting and the power that you show up with and the confidence you show up with. Right? So you need to understand fully that you deserve nothing less than a life full of, peace and joy and love. And you can't have any of those things if you're not setting boundaries for yourself. You have to set boundaries, and you have to understand that you're worthy of having your needs met. So in my example now, and it makes me cry when I realize, and I might even cry. No, I'm not even gonna lie to you. But when I realized this, when I had this realization about 4 or 5 days ago, I just bawled, because I was like, how could I have not believed that I was worthy of having what I wanted? You know what I mean? And the stupid thing is, if I had laid those boundaries down, if I had said, this is what I need, this is where I'm going, this is what I need to do, I need some sleep. Yeah, he probably would have been disappointed, because I want to spend time with you, but it wouldn't have been okay. You know what I mean? And also, if I had realized that he wanted to be with me even more than I wanted to be with him, which is something that I couldn't even fathom, because it was like, I equated to this, when you are, young and you're looking through the Teen Bop magazines. Remember those, the Teen Bop or whatever, Teen Beat, whatever it is, magazines, or, you're watching a music video on TV and you're just like in love with this musician or this actor or whatever. And he's probably way older than you, right? At the time. And you're just like, oh my God, he's so like, I dream of meeting him one day or something like that, or like being in his presence, or you kind of daydream, like, it's never going to happen, but you daydream of, like, for me, it was like Nick Carter. I was like totally in love with Nick Carter from the Backstreet Boys, right? My husband was like that for me. I put him that high on a pedestal that he was like some kind of celebrity to me. So I could not imagine somebody that I put on a pedestal wanting to be with me more than I wanted to be with them. And going into the whole ordeal already knowing that this was going to be forever. Like, I didn't know that. I thought it was going to be literally something that was going to last maybe a few weeks, a few months, maybe. And then it would be on to the next one for both of us. So that was a powerful realization I had, that if I had set better boundaries in the beginning of our relationship, I would have seen that so much sooner. Because now, obviously, I'm very good at setting boundaries. I'm saying, no, this is important to me. This is what's happening. And not in a I don't care about your opinion, what you want doesn't matter. In a, okay, well, okay, when we talk about like tonight, we'll sit down and talk about what are we doing tomorrow? Because our son starts kindergarten on technically Tuesday, but then Thursday the 9th is like his first day we drop him off and leave him. So we are making an effort to do all the things between now and then, right? So usually what we'll do is we'll sit down and we'll go, okay, what's on the schedule for tomorrow? And I'll say, okay, well, I've got a call at 8:30 to talk about chapters 11 and 12 of The Greatest Secret. And then, I'm free. Or today, okay, I've got this at 10. And then I have to do accountability feedback for the girls in my Alignment U program at some point today, which is already done now. And I've got a coaching call at 5:30. The old me would have been very easily talked out of that. This is exactly what would have happened. If this is like 5-6 years ago and I was trying to pursue a business, this actually did happen at the beginning of my business, actually. So I'm not even going to pretend it didn't happen. I would have a live scheduled. And then he would say, hey, why don't we go and do XYZ? And I would say, well, I got this thing scheduled. And he would go, well, but I want to go do this or whatever. Right. And I'd say, okay, well, yeah, I guess I can reschedule it. I guess I can reschedule it. It's not a big deal. I remember one of the first times I did finally set a boundary for myself. I don't know if it was a 5-day workshop or if it was, at this time I was going regularly live in my group also, I think on Mondays or Wednesdays or something. Like the girls started calling it was in here actually. I used to do it, and you can find all the videos under media and then videos. They used to call it Date Night Wednesday, and they'd say, oh, can't wait for date night, and we would all meet and talk about manifestation or whatever. And I remember I think it might've been a 5-day. It doesn't really matter. Anyway, I was putting on some kind of live thing, and I was supposed to be live at 4:30 or whatever, and he wanted to go do something, and I said, no, I've got this video or whatever I have to do. And he was like, well, like, does it even matter? There's nobody really gonna be there, like nobody's paying you for this, it's a free thing, whatever. And I did for a second think about rescheduling it, and then I thought, no. And I said to him, no, I'm not going to do that. Because you know why? Because the version of me who already has the business that she wants is going to be where she says she's going to be at the time she says she's going to be there. So I am going to show up and I'm going to do this thing. And then after, we can go do whatever, or tomorrow we can do whatever, or whatever the situation was. But I remember very clearly I was standing over there and I said, no, the version of me who is already doing what I want would be showing up. Right. And of course, by then, and again, he was not trying to talk me out of my business or whatever. We both are battling resistance at that point. We've both got upper limits. I'm reading The Big Leap right now, and he talks about the upper limit. So we were both upper limiting ourselves, scared of the success, scared of where it could go, scared of going into the unknown, all of that. Plus, he wants his need met. And by now, okay, so this is, if I've already started my business, technically, this is sometime in 2019. Okay. And by now, I had been giving my power away for so long that it was this is just what the dynamic was. I want to do something. He says something that contradicts it. I talk myself out of it. Right? And it was awful. So, there came a point even where I was given an ultimatum. Some of you may know this already, some of you may not. But in January of 2020, I had been at this now for a year and a bit, wasn't going anywhere. I had made, I don't know, a total of like $1,000 or something. I had to go back to work because I hadn't made any money in my business up until, May or June of 2020. So I needed to get 2019. So I had to get a job. I had to go back to work. And then by January 2020, I was running this masterclass, and one of my previous mentors accused me of copying her, which I wasn't. I'm not going to go into it, but anyway, that's her own resistance and upper limiting herself. But anyway, and then finally he was like, look, it's not going anywhere. You don't have any clients. You're putting all this time into your business. Of course, I was also very heavily in the wounded masculine. I need to do, right? I wasn't into the energetics of inner work yet. I was avoiding it still at this point, right? Which, by the way, you guys, is the secret to everything. That's what we do inside of Alignment You. It's all inner work, because that's what you need to figure out is your energetics, and you're aligning to your true self and calling back your power so that you can show up as the version of you that you were always meant to. But anyway, you have no clients, you have no money, you're spending all this time, you never see your family. What good is it all if you finally get it up and running if your family is gone by then, and now you're being threatened with a lawsuit. So maybe it's time you dial it back and stop pursuing this fucking pipe dream of yours, right? And I said, you know what? You're right. It's not going the way that I want. I'm obviously going about it the wrong way. I need to redirect and regroup and whatever, but this is my calling and I'm not going to stop. I will put it on hold. Because obviously what I'm doing is not working anyway, but I am not stopping. Like, this is my calling and I have to, but I will put it on pause. And so I did. I put it on pause. I redirected my energy to my family. We did a lot of repairing. It was one of the best things I ever did, actually, because that led me to finally doing the fucking inner work that I had been avoiding for so long. I had a reading with a friend of mine, and she channeled my guides, and they said to me, look, you have everything you need. You have all the tools. You even have the business coach that you manifested. You have all the things. Now it's time to do the inner work. Stop fucking around and get to work. And so I did. And I started doing that, started doing it in secret, started doing it on my own, started getting up super, super early. This is when I started getting up at like 4:15, 4:30, work on my business before I went to work. You know, I would stay up late and work on it too. I would do it at work. I would on my work breaks, I would leave for lunch. I would drive to a neighboring parking lot. I would get a smoothie or whatever. I would drink my smoothie or eat whatever, and I would work in my car. And then I would go back to work and I would do that. And then finally it came around where I was ready for a launch. And I finally said to my husband, you know what? This is what we're going to do this time. I would really love it if we could do this as a team. I've got this amazing launch planned. It's all going to go well. But for me to be totally successful and to totally immerse myself in it and do it the right way, it's going to require a lot of hours based on the launch strategy that I was using at the time. If I'm going to do this properly, which I figured at that point, there's no point in doing it if I'm not going to do it properly, it's going to require a lot of time. So why don't you take our son and go camping? Take him and go camping. I need 10 days. Let me hammer this launch out. I can throw myself fully into it. You guys will have fun. You know, I don't have to feel guilty about the time I'm spending on my computer or talking to people or having conversations or, you know, in the DMs or whatever, putting together content for the workshop. You guys can have fun, and then we'll reconvene afterwards. One of the best things I ever did was set that boundary and say, look, I need to focus on this. And for the highest and best of all involved, I need you guys to go, right? Go camping, go have some fun. This is like May. It was beautiful weather. They went to a Soyuz. They had a great time. And then we did it again. I did another launch a month and a half later, and they went camping again. And it was those two launches that got me where I am today, enabled me to quit my job, enabled me to do this full time, enabled me to be with my family fully. But it was the boundary of setting, you know, this is important to me. I'm not taking no for an answer. I will accommodate, you know, I'm willing to compromise because obviously the way I'm trying to do it is not working anyway for me or anybody, right? I realized it also needed to be a family effort. Like, I need to involve everybody. I need to make sure that we're all on the same page. I can't just attempt to do these things without saying anything, because one of the other things that started to happen while I was building my business is there was no communication because I didn't want to step over that boundary, right? I didn't want to rattle anything. So I would, in my mind, decide what I wanted to accomplish the next day or within the next week or later today or whatever, but I wouldn't communicate that because I don't want to upset anybody. And then my husband would come and say, hey, I've got this awesome thing. I've got this awesome idea. Why don't we go do this? And then I would get pissed off. I can't do that. I've got all these things to do. You know, I would do them and then be resentful of the whole thing the whole time, which is disgusting, to be resentful of spending time with your family, right? Just disgusting. But I was resentful. I'm just going to be honest with you. Like, I was resentful because I wanted to spend time doing more things. Again, wounded masculine, right? So I finally realized that how can I hold my husband in contempt for not giving me the space to work on the things that he doesn't even know that I want to work on? Right? So when I started saying, hey, I want to work on this thing, or I've got this project, or I want to finish this by this time, it got easier and easier and easier for me to say, look, I'm working on this right now. Give me an hour, or we need to be home by whatever time because I want to work on this, or let me finish this and then we'll go. Or, okay, here's the compromise. We'll go hiking today, but then, you know, there's rain in the schedule for whatever. So I'm going to spend that day. You guys can watch movies. I'm going to do whatever. Right? But setting boundaries is 100% necessary. And also realizing in your outer relationships too, friendships, you know, in-laws, parents, siblings, whatever, coworkers, you have to set the boundaries, right? If those people are meant to be in your life, they will respect the boundaries, they will appreciate the boundaries, and they will have their own boundaries. If they are not the right people, they're going to be offended by the boundaries, they're going to be pissed off by the boundaries, and they're probably going to peace out. And you know what? That's a good thing, because it helps you weed out who you shouldn't be spending time with to begin with. Right? And this is coming back to my original point about my husband. If I, at the beginning of our relationship, had set the boundaries, he would have stuck around. He would have. I was scared he was going to leave. I was attached to him. Right? But at the same time, not feeling worthy of it. So you can see what the fuck was going on in my head, right? Like, it's not a healthy place to be. Which then, I will just kind of skim over it, very quickly led me into what I now realize. I think I was very depressed for a very long time. I was on antidepressants and anti-anxieties, but I didn't realize it was as bad as it was until I was looking at pictures of myself around the time we got married, about a year before, the year of, even up to a couple of years after we got married, pretty much up until we started trying to get pregnant, up until we started trying to actively get pregnant. I was actually treating my body like I was already pregnant and watching what I was eating. I stopped smoking pot. I wasn't drinking alcohol anymore. Not that we were drinking a lot anyway. We're not really drinkers, but we definitely smoke pot. So I stopped smoking. Therefore that stopped me eating junk. I was very careful about what I was eating. I was treating myself better. But anyway, leading up to that point, I was very depressed, and I was looking at pictures of myself recently, and I got like fat for my body frame. I got fat. I gained a whole bunch of weight. My face puffed out. You can see, like, I will show you if you want to see. I will post a picture of the picture that I'm actually talking about. And my hair got short, because this is the other thing. I felt unworthy of being with my husband because I still think he's extremely good looking. But because he was so good looking, I felt unworthy of being with him, right? I thought he was like this. Well, like I said, I put him on a pedestal, right? So I felt unworthy of being with him. And I thought people were, when they were looking at us, I thought they were thinking, who is she to be with him? What is he doing with a chick that looks like that? Like, she wears glasses. She looks like a nerd. And I don't think I look like a nerd at all, but that's the perception that I had. That's the persona that I was giving myself, because I didn't feel worthy of being with him, right? So not only did I feel that way, I started to look like I was picturing. I was starting to represent what I thought people saw when they looked at us. And so what ended up happening was I manifested, because we're always manifesting all the time, whether we realize it or not. I manifested sabotaging myself, right? I manifested gaining weight. I ended up frying my hair, like, to the point where I had to cut it off. Like, I had short hair. Okay. So now all of a sudden I'm chubby, I have short curly hair, and I'm wearing glasses. So now I'm just like, I didn't realize this at the time. Again, this is all hindsight. Okay. This is all hindsight. But I realized that I was now a physical representation of what I thought people were seeing. I was becoming the projection that I was putting out there. Right. And if you look at a picture of me now, I look totally different, right? There's a glow to it. I look genuinely happy, right? Because I am genuinely happy. I've set boundaries. My energy is different. I'm aligned to who I'm supposed to be, right? I'm pursuing my calling. I'm fulfilled in every single way. My husband is amazing. And he now, and always has been, although I didn't see it, all he wants to do is constantly create fun and joy and love for his family. That's all he cares about, is having a good time with his family and doing things that create fun memories. That's literally all he cares about. I am literally me and my son are the most important things to him ever. And we always have been. I just didn't see it that way. Right. And I would have seen it sooner if I had been confident enough to set the boundaries, because, like I said, again, I would have set the boundaries. I need to get sleep. I need to write in my journal. I need to go for a walk by myself. I need to whatever. Right. And he would have honored that, and it would have been okay. And I would have known right then that I can still be who I am and have him too. I don't have to give up who I am to be with somebody. I don't have to put people on a pedestal. We're all the same. We're all learning and growing. And so imagine also putting him up on this pedestal and his whole family up on this pedestal. Imagine how crushing it was to realize that he's just a regular human being, just like everybody else, and he has flaws too. So now I'm like, shit, I spent my entire life idolizing somebody who is just a fucking regular human, who has problems just like me, who has insecurities just like me, who also has a lack of confidence just like me, who also feels unworthy of, like, this is the other problem, is there was parts of him subconsciously that felt unworthy of being with me, because I was, in his mind, so much better than all of the women he had dated before. But all I'm seeing is I'm not as pretty as these girls. I'm not this, I'm not that. And my boobs aren't as big. My this isn't as big. I'm not as tall. I'm not as skinny. I'm not this, I'm not that. I'm not whatever. Which is all fucking bogus too, because I was fucking beautiful when we started dating. And then I sabotaged that too. You know what I mean? So it's just like so stupid. So really it's a lesson in authenticity, right? Showing up as who you really are for you. And the people who are for you, the people who are aligned with you, the people who need to hear what you have to say, the people who want to be in your circle will be there no matter what your boundaries are. And the people who are not supposed to be there, the boundaries help weed those people out. So it's doing you a favor. I know at the time it feels painful, like, oh, I don't want to lose this person or this relationship or this friendship or this, whatever. Fuck it. Would you rather be unhappy and living as somebody you're not? Because I don't. I did that for too long. I don't want to do that anymore. So you got to ask yourself, what's more important to me? Is it living as my authentic self and being who I really am more important to me? Or is people pleasing more important to me? Is making other people comfortable around me more important? Right? What's more important? So anyway, I think that's a good place to leave it. I'm just going to read through some comments really quickly. If there's any questions, if you guys have any questions at all, please feel free to ask. I would love to, yeah. Kay says she's going to Google and add the secret to her cart right now. So funny. Oh, you guys are so funny. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of agreements here. This is important. This happens to me with my little side gig. I have a whole live sale planned, prepared days in advance, got my group all excited, and he came home early. Her husband, I think she's talking about. I swear intentionally, and completely threw me off kilter. And I went to a new spot to do my live and showed up, but I could hear him mocking me from the other room. So this is lack of boundaries, lack of confidence, giving your power away, right? Because I used to not even be able to go live when my husband was home. I wouldn't even be able to go live. There's actually one live, I think it's even still on my page. I was live and he came home early and I just cut the live off, said, oh, gotta go. And I shut it off because I was scared to be my authentic self in front of my husband. Like, how fucking stupid is that? He's my husband, right? Like, who did he even marry then? You know what I mean? Like, who did he even marry? It's so stupid. And the whole time, he's just been on Team Danielle the whole time. The whole time. Right? So this right here, classic example. I did the exact same thing. Classic example of giving your power away and not setting good boundaries. So what it's going to take for you to feel comfortable going live with your husband in the house is just to fucking do it anyway. And keep doing it anyway and prove it to yourself, not even to him, because this is the other trap I fell into. Then it was like, okay, I'm going to do my business. I'm going to prove to you that I can do it, especially after the ultimatum thing, right? I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to prove it to him. I'm going to prove it to everybody that I can do it. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to say, I'm going to follow through on what I said I was going to do. I'm going to prove it to you that I can do it. It's going to happen. I'm going to prove it to you. You're going to be proud of me. And then I realized one day, wake up, lady. This is not about anybody but you. Prove it to yourself. Do it for you. This is not about what he thinks. This is about what you think. And then I realized he's going to love you no matter what. If this whole thing had failed and I had to go back to a 9-to-5 job, do you think he would love me any less? No, absolutely not. Right? That's the stupid thing. He just wants me to be happy and do what makes me happy. That's all it is. And the only reason that our spouses or our friends or our family or whatever are critical, they're feeding off of like this example here, right? This showing up and being made, a mockery and all that. This is your projection of your insecurity and your lack of confidence being mirrored back to you. Okay. That's why he came home early. You manifested that. You are manifesting your lack of confidence being shown to you. It's a projection of your mirrored insecurities back to you. So you need to repair it within yourself before he's not going to change. He's going to continue to be who he's going to be until you change. Show up with more confidence, right? Do it for you. Make your side gig a success for you. Do what you want to do for you. And you know what? If you are meant to be together and stay together, eventually he'll come on board and be supportive of you. And he's not, then he's going to vibrate out. Unfortunately, that's just part of the problem. And that was, again, you've heard me say before, part of the reason why I was worried to show up for myself is because I was scared that my husband was going to vibrate out. I was warned that could happen. I was worried it was going to happen. So I was scared to set the boundaries and show up for myself. And then I realized this is fucking stupid. I can't live, again, I cannot live as the unrealized potential that I am and be happy. There's no way. There is no way. So if we're supposed to be together, we're going to be. And if we're not supposed to be together, I kind of would rather figure that out. You know what I mean? So I just realized that me realizing who I really am and living to my potential was more important to me than what anybody thought. And that was really the thought that set me free, right? And now, not only is my husband supportive, he's on the whole spiritual path with me. He actively calls me out on, like, we'll be joking around. I'll say something and he goes, that's scarcity mindset. And I'm just like, man, you are right. That is. And I do the same thing to him. And we are now, because we're both living as who we're supposed to be, it's this beautiful give and take reciprocal relationship where we're just helping each other be better. Right? Like even this morning, he did something that was not as in character as I would have liked. And I told him I was disappointed. I was like, I'm disappointed that you reacted that way. That's not who you are. And then we had a bit of a tiff. And then he was like, you're right. You're right. And it rubbed me the wrong way because I don't want you to be disappointed in me. The only opinion I care about is yours anyway. Right. And I said, it's not about me. You're stronger than that. You're a bigger person than that. Why would you, and he's like, I don't know, XYZ, whatever. But those dialogues couldn't have happened. There's no way. 8-9 years ago, I would have told him I was disappointed in him. No way. Because the boundaries are not in place and I didn't have the confidence in myself to know that I can say to you what I feel like I need to say to you and have you still love and respect me. So I gave my power away. I don't want that for you guys. I want you to live aligned to who you are. I want you to be who you are. I want you to do the inner work that helps you come back to who you are so that you can stand up in your power and in your confidence and in your journey and be fulfilled in what you're doing, whatever it is. There's a question here. Any journaling tips on not self-sabotaging a relationship that is great due to having issues in my past relationship and marriage where I was cheated and lied to? Okay, so that's awful and I'm sorry that happened to you. But those things, you need to look at those things first and realize that those were lessons, right? Where were you giving your power away? How did you attract a person that would do that? And not to place blame. I don't mean to do this like in any kind of way other than like a gentle observation, right? You can't move forward until you figure out where you were, right? Where was your mind at? Where was your confidence at? Where were your boundaries? What did you believe? What did you believe to be true at the time about love and relationships to have attracted somebody who was going to cheat and lie to you? Right? Because we're attracting what we are attracting what we're vibrating. Right? So get clear on that. And then forgive that person. You don't have to forget it happened. You don't have to, be friendly or whatever. You just forgive it. Forgive the situation. Forgive yourself for holding on to the grudge and forgive yourself for carrying it into this relationship. Right? And then realize that there was a reason that happened. Everything that's meant to happen will happen. Right? And you can't project that onto this person and realize that you have been projecting that onto this person. And then decide that it gets to be good. So I said earlier, I'm reading The Big Leap right now, and he talks about how we upper limit ourselves. Like it can't be this good, which is what I was doing to myself in my relationship, right? It can't be this good. The person I put on a pedestal can't be that enthralled with me. It can't be that good. I can't have manifested my fairy tale of having the guy that I wanted to marry when I was 5 want to be with me and to live this happy, amazing life where I get to do everything that I want and he gets to be a stay-at-home dad and Like I'm not worthy of all of that. I can't have that. So I'm going to sabotage it. Right? Realize that you're doing it. Forgive yourself for doing it. And then realize that you do get to be that happy. You can break through your upper limit of happiness by realizing I'm worthy of being that happy. Absolutely. And then in the moments where you notice that you're self-sabotaging, this is going to be a present moment awareness kind of a thing, right? When you notice that you are self-sabotaging, dial it back and go, what am I doing right now? Do I want to be right or do I want to be happy? Right? Do I want to relive an old pattern or do I want to be happy? Present moment awareness is huge. Huge. And then just journal on the feelings that come up as they come up. Don't question it. A lot of times I start my journaling with a question. How did I attract this? What did I believe to be true to have attracted this situation? What do I believe to be true about relationships now? What would I prefer to believe about my experience now? What do I prefer to believe about relationships now? What do I prefer to believe about men in general? About relationships in general? About, whatever. And then Jamie gave a helpful tip to Mary. She said, maybe don't think of it as your little side gig. Very, very important. Jamie's in alignment with you. So is Mary. These girls, they know what they're talking about. Maybe don't think of it as your little side gig. Watch how you word things to yourself too. When you're doing what you're doing is a product of your genius. So think about it and show up that way. That's so good, Jamie. You're a genius. But you're right. My little side gig, you are belittling your venture. And so, like I say, that insecurity is being projected back to you and mirrored back to you from your husband. Right? Okay. I think we'll leave it there. This has been way longer than I meant it to be. I meant it to be a half an hour. I apologize. Thank you so much for hanging out with me this entire time, everybody who's on live. Thank you so much for watching the replay on YouTube and listening to the podcast. I so appreciate it. I would love to hear your thoughts. If you are watching this on replay inside the group, please go ahead and drop a hashtag replay, some comments. Let me know your thoughts on the subject. If it resonates with you, if you disagree with what I'm saying, I would love to hear too. Same on YouTube. I would love it if you guys would leave me comments. Let me know if this message resonates, if you are seeing yourself in my message, if you are disagreeing with what I'm saying. I would love to hear. I'm open to feedback. You guys have a fantastic day. I love you so much. I'll see you next Tuesday.